Well, as the title says, winter's coming. Well, I hope winter's quite a bit in the future yet, but fall is definitely here. We've had one sort of patchy frost, and the next week or so isn't indicating in the long-range forecast anyway that we'll have any more frost, but that's an indication of it's a good time to start getting the fall chores out of the way. Things that must be done before winter, to close down gardens and get the various poultry coops cleaned out and ready for winter. What I'm doing right now is finishing putting plastic, a thing called banking plastic. It's a 4 mil translucent plastic, not really transparent, but translucent, on the quail coop to keep the wind out of the coop. I've already put a heat lamp in there, and so with the addition of the plastic, it'll make it quite cozy in there for them in the wintertime. Quail don't mind so much the low temperatures, but it's drafts and wind that bother them. So I did this last year when I had bob white quail, and it was quite successful. I have almost finished. I ran out of plastic yesterday, had to go buy more, so this morning I'm doing the last of it. I'll speed up the next section so you can see me do it in high speed here. Well, that finishes this side, and the rest of the coop is all done except for one of these little small lower areas on the other side. This is where the birds can walk up the ramp and go into the enclosed area. They never seem to spend the night up there, but they can do that anyway. They go up and down frequently. These birds don't roost at all. The bob white quail used to roost about half the time. I have roosts in there, but I've never seen these quail even fly up to give it a try. I think that just about finishes that side, and I'll get the other side finished in short order, and there'll be one more job out of the way. You might have seen me using this. It's a special tape for repairing greenhouses. Plastic in like my hoop house, the plastic type of a greenhouse. If you get a rip, this will cover the rip up, and it's weatherproof. It doesn't, at least it takes a long time before the rain and the weather affect it, so I've been going down the seams with that to make it a little more airtight. We'll move on soon to another fall chore. It has been a strange year with beans. These are the Meuch beans. Well, I think they originate in Germany. Sent to me by David on the Work with Nature channel. I really like them. They're a nice string bean, you know, for eating fresh. And I have let what you see on the vines there, I've left them there to mature into beans that I could save for seed for next year, as well as I use them in soups and whatever in the wintertime. They're a good bean, but boy, I don't know, this year beans were strange. These were planted, I think, about as early as I usually plant them. They didn't set any beans at all until sometime in September. I've had a couple of meals off of them, but I had to leave what remains for seed. I'm growing butter beans for the first time, which is a type of lima bean, a small lima bean. Set all kinds of pods, but they didn't fill out. Maybe I'll show you one or two if I find a few left. There's also some kind of a rodent's getting them now. But anyway, I'm going to pick these. Well, it's a good basket, 3/4 full of the Meuch beans anyway. And I think what I'll do, I'll put those maybe in the cabin, spread them in a single layer on the floor. They're easier to shell once the pod has dried up, but this is what they look like inside. kind of prettier after they've dried too, because it looks black and white there now, but when they've dried they've got some purple in the color. So. And they're a very nice bean to cook with, and like I say, I need seed for next year. These are the butter beans, and they are sort of filling out, whoops, drop one on the ground here. They're sort of filling out a little bit, like this one was the one that was filled out the most, so I don't know, maybe that's what they're supposed to be, I guess. They're smaller than a lima bean anyway, but I've been eating them like this fresh for quite a while. And I love the taste of them raw. I haven't had any to cook yet. I think I'll leave the rest of the pods for another week or so and then pick them all, but I think it's something I would grow again, even though I didn't have great luck with them. I'll plant them in a different location, maybe where they get more sun next year, but I certainly like the taste of them in the raw, anyway. Well, I just shelled out the rest of that little handful of the butter beans, and I think perhaps they are at the size that they're supposed to be, because they're smaller than a regular lima bean anyway. Like these three here in the middle, they're definitely too small, but the other ones are a reasonable size, so maybe I'll pick them all today before the moles or voles or whatever it is that I have decide that they'd like to store them for the winter. Looks like I will be having butter beans with dinner this evening. There were a lot more pods than I thought was there. They're so cleverly camouflaged on the plant. You think you've picked them all and turn around and you've left 2 or 3 behind. They're only about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet tall. Don't require any support at all. And as I said, I think I will certainly source some more seed. I can't remember if these are open pollinated or not, but I won't be saving them for seed anyway. I guess I'll be eating them. But I will try growing butter beans again another year. My late season brassicas planted in here in the hoop house. The plants are still looking quite good. All the white stuff that you see is rather a heavy dusting of dipel. I did have some cabbage moths in here. I think that has taken care of them, though. The leaves don't seem to be eaten anymore. I see where some of them are definitely broccoli, and I'm starting with some very small heads, this time only about 1 inch across. Others have a very tightly closed leaves at the top, and I suspect I've grown more of those Romanesco type cauliflower, which I'll never grow again, but anyway, if I get 1 or 2 out of this, I'll eat them. But they're very small and a huge plant with very little production, so I wouldn't be bothered with those another year. My small second crop of beets are coming along. There are a few that are, well, golf ball size, I guess. Those would be the largest. It's still staying quite warm in here in the hoop house, so I think they'll probably continue to grow for a few more weeks yet. And if you can see off to the right there, if I can get this to swing a little bit off to the right, I planted buckwheat in this bed as a cover crop, and that's up and blooming. I've got to get it cut down before it goes to seed, and I have buckwheat in here all the time. But I plan to also put some chicken manure in here this fall on the beds, because I'd like to grow more directly in the beds in here next summer. Well, I'm going to pick my largest remaining Oka melon. There are at least 3 I guess, other ones that are smaller. But this one is the largest, and it still has some green on it. I don't know what it will be like, but the vine has died. Even though we only had 1 frosty day and it didn't go down that cold in here. Melons are very delicate. I enjoyed the other one, even though it wasn't completely ripe, I guess, but I will take that in and cut it and show you what it's like. But with this much green on it, I suspect it's about like the ones that I ate before. Maybe when I pick the other smaller ones, I won't cut them right away. I'll see if they'll ripen just in the house like you ripen a tomato. Well, I had a feeling this was quite a bit bigger than the last one. I know it's a bit bigger. I didn't weigh the last one, so I don't know what it weighed, but I just weighed this. It's 1 1/3 kilograms, which is almost 3 pounds, 2 pounds 15 ounces. So it's quite big. I suspect not really ripe, but quite big. I don't know. It might be riper than the other one, I guess. give it a try. Still a bit crispy, but I get more of what I would call a melon flavor this time. Not exactly like cantaloupe, but something in that area. Lots of seed, so I think I will save seed. If anybody would like to give them a try, PM me your mailing address and I'll pop a few seeds in the mail for you. But I think it is something that I will grow again another year. Well, to close this video off, I videoed a very pretty sunset last evening, so let's have a look at the sunset. Thank you very much for watching.